AKAPADers. We got two coffees today. You know what? You know why we got two coffees? Because we got two mascots of the table. It's been a little bit. Say hello to Crypt and his backup Mike Pike. Guys, it's Peter A. DeLuca. Welcome back to the channel. The comic book channel of comic book channels. We do have a spiritual advisor, Stephen Hughes of Chaos Comics. What are we talking about today? Why are we all here? We have a stack of Fantastic Four comics. And I want to illustrate a point here. I don't know how long this video is going to be. I always set out to do like a 10-minute video. Every video I make, I want to be 10 minutes. But we're going to talk about the significance of this stack here. Because Fantastic Four is dropping in theaters. People are going crazy. I already profiled this. Fantastic Four, The Legend. Special tribute issue. With no inside cover, by the way. Because why would you have an inside cover? There's a wonderful timeline here. Where we start... Yeah, we all know this, right? And this very image is homaged in the movie, right? Like, this is a scene from the movie now. The 2025 Fantastic Four movie. And we see, like, there's a lineage when we go through the timeline. See, like, Kirby, Jack Kirby, Stan Lee, the era that everyone pretends that they know. no one... There's few people I talk to on a regular basis that are comic book people that actually know about this stuff. Everyone knows, like, the first... everyone knows the key issues. This is my dark spot, though. The 70s. Then we get into the 80s and we transition into the John Byrne era. John Byrne, yeah, like they had to ease John Byrne into the title, but John Byrne returns it back to center and just creates a whole new Fantastic Four universe. Then we get out of the 80s, and you know, it gets back to being maybe like desperate and weird. Then we hit the 90s, and we get Walt Simonson, Four No More. That's where they kill Reed Richards. Gimmick covers, and then essentially they go back to the Days of Future Past of Uncanny X-Men. So there's like an alternate Franklin Richards, but you know, like, it's demise. We end with 416. So this came out right when 416 was hitting. But let's just go back to, like, the original, and we see here too, Onslaught as their most epic villain. So here we go. We have 415 and 416 here. Here's the amazing thing. 416. This is the last issue of that original timeline, that original lineage. You think this issue alone would be heralded, would be worth a lot of money, would be on the brains of everyone this weekend, because we're getting another Fantastic Four movie this weekend. You just would think that there's a level of true significance to the original continuity Fantastic Four, and they're going through everything in this issue. This is like a really good flashback issue, right? The end for now. Because they're going to fight Onslaught. Like, isn't that amazing? Like, the final image of the original Fantastic Four continuity is this. I mean, I would be pretty happy with that. So no one's talking about this. And we know, right, Volume 1 spawns out into Volume 2, which is the Jim Lee era. So Jim Lee kind of comes on. He draws like 6-7 issues. Brett Booth comes on after. But these sell really well. And they just bring more eyeballs onto the franchise. And they did this with, you guys know, Iron Man, Avengers, Captain America, Jim Lee, Rob Liefeld, Heroes Reborn. But then Heroes Reborn, right, becomes Heroes Reborn: The Return. And this is where they do a lot of work, man. Like Peter David, a lot of work to kind of like put everything back together. And it's Franklin Richards is the key to it all. That's the stuff we know. I don't know if anyone charted how hard they were trying it. Because they were trying for a while. See, they wanted to prevent Heroes Reborn like so much. We can just do that. Right? Like, we have to prevent the final issue from happening. You have to understand, like, I would say even within the halls of Marvel Comics, like, this is very upsetting stuff. I'm trying to get, like, a good layout here. Like, this is very upsetting stuff. We have the eradication of the original timeline happening in front of your face. So, going back to 1991, issue 358. Right? Like, it's a gimmick cover, but they're doing a lot of story, like a hell of a lot of story. Like, Johnny kind of falls in love with someone that turns out to be a Skrull girl, right? Alicia, who is Ben's ex. Johnny starts banging who he thinks is Ben's ex. This guy's like Hunter Biden, the ex of his family, and she turns out to be a super Skrull. So I don't want to go over like the story beats. That's an upcoming video. So we get this gimmick cover, 358. And then we get 371. Johnny goes supernova. There's an upcoming video on this. Sue gets a new costume. Franklin Richards starts bugging out. Well, that's not enough. Because look, 371. A couple issues later, another gimmick cover. So you guys see the conversation we're having here? It's just gimmick cover on top of gimmick cover. 375, we're trying again. Ben at this point has a torn up face. He fights Wolverine. He loses a fight against Wolverine, and he's scarred. He's scarred for life, and that's why he's got to wear a helmet. That's not enough. We introduce an alternate timeline, Franklin Richards, aka Psylord. We have a spin-off book called Fantastic Force. Psylord is fully within the continuity of Fantastic Four. Gimmick cover. Keep trying. Issue 398. Issue 399. Issue 400. Gimmick cover, gimmick cover, gimmick cover. I mean, we have this run, and now by the time 400 comes out, and we're 1995. Gimmick covers have gotten such a bad reputation. It's eroding the comic book industry. What Marvel's trying to do, they're trying to get eyeballs, and they treat this. Here's the amazing thing. Even though they're 2 years out of their true final issue, they treat 400 as a final issue. See, there's like the future Psylord there. Like, see, we're not the same, but we are the same. And keep in mind, he comes from the Days of Future Past. If you want to continue Days of Future Past, you read this version of Franklin Richards, and you get your history. But they're trying. Like, they work so freaking hard defending a title. Right? The world's greatest comic magazine. Comics are magazines, guys. They're meant to sell advertising. So Marvel does a full court press. Like, they run a 2-minute drill to save the title, because you cannot reboot Fantastic Four. You can't redo it. So what happens is, with all of this, with everything that happens in Onslaught, we get, here we go, previously in Fantastic Four, read a couple pages. But we get this revamp. So this is essentially Fantastic Four Volume 2. And isn't it amazing how, look at just how quickly the comic book industry changed. Let's get back to that issue 400 now. I know, I get it. It's a couple years difference, but it's not many years. What are we doing here? Right? Marvel caught up to Image Comics quick. They really did. So Fantastic Four gets this jolt of life, and then from here, it spirals. It just spirals out of control. We get another final issue, renumbered 588. This leads into yet another reboot. Kind of Fantastic Four, kind of the Future Foundation. People call it both. But this is also where the title loses its continuity, loses its lineage, and it becomes just more of a long science fiction yarn. But it loses its episodic nature, which is again the point of comic books. So a lot of what we're seeing today is just this lack of observation, lack of commentary. That these two issues, they share something. There's only one or two other titles that share this, and you kind of have to say DC Comics, Detective Comics, DC Comics, Action Comics. They share a similar situation where some books can struggle, they can dip in sales, they can start losing to competition, they can start losing to technology, as we saw here. But they have to maintain their legacy. They have to. You can't stop numbering. You have to have a straight continuity. And the reason for that is if they never canceled Fantastic Four, they could have still done all of this, right? You still do everything you want. You make your creative teams happy. But what happens is, you do have what you want to call a center, right? The center is a lot of these elements here boiled down into the beats of the characters, what we will call normal for the characters, and you do whatever you want storyline wise, and you return, you return everything to center, and you wrap up the story. Comics did this for decades, and now we're in this momentum, this rhythm of just constant reboots, and every single reboot needs to one up itself. And here they're so desperate they gotta put Spider-Man, right? Put Webhead into the book, whatever, just sell the freaking book. And there's more lost there than gained. I really do think it's weird that no one's talking about Fantastic Four 416. No one references it. No one, because everything's about buy the next graphic novel or the collected edition, and the collected editions aren't. And the idea is that once we establish a continuity, you can come in and you can start reading issue 249. And it's you're going to your comic shop and you're buying all of you're buying back issues and you're reading back issues, and and I get it, you can't afford them all, so you're buying reprints, and you're it's you're an archaeologist, you're just digging. Or you jump ahead and you say, I want to start reading 413 here. And you can kind of go back and forth, and you're in the timeline, and the timeline dictates potentially what you could be buying. But when we don't have a strict timeline, we lose like a sales position. There's a sales strategy that's good for comic shops and comic readers, and it's to me it seems to make everyone happy. You can't just have loose trade paperbacks and graphic novels just floating out there with no interconnectivity. So guys, yeah, little bit of a presentation. The final issue of Fantastic Four right here, 416.